Välkommen till Vardagsprepping, en helt ideell podcast utan reklam för dig som vill stärka din beredskap och ha kul samtidigt. Förutom podden kan du även hitta oss på YouTube och på bloggen vardagsprepping.se. Och det var helt på svenska, men we're going to switch to English right pretty soon. Vi har ju en del internationella lyssnare som jag vet är intresserade av läget i Norden, och då tänkte jag att vi kör det här på engelska. Everything good in Norway?
Yeah, it's cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing drastic happening?
Nah, not much.
No, not much. So, Ole, you're a prepper in Norway. And I think I found you on Instagram, where you actually have the same name as us, but in Norwegian.
Yeah.
So let's just start with, we have a lot of questions for you, and feel free to ask us questions as well if you want to. So just to start, what is prepping for you?
Prepping for me is basically staying comfortable. It's as simple as that. I want to be able to stay comfortable in situations where I normally would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's as a bonus for that, we have lights when there's a power outage. We have food if we can't go to the store. So we're staying safe as well. But it's I have a very simple way of looking at prepping, because I'm an everyday prepper. I don't prep for nuclear war.
That's good.
Tell us about why do you become a prepper?
It was very specific. It was right after lockdown, and I had a back injury. I had a disc in my back slip out while I was folding some clothes. Ooh. And that made me see how fragile we are. It's like I'm folding some laundry and I'm put out of business for 2 months. I can't go to the store. All my basic needs are in the hands of other people. And the basic needs of my kids. I couldn't provide them food. Our neighbors had to provide us food. They had to go to the store for us. So that's the reason why I started prepping. I really felt that I failed completely as a father and as a provider and all of that.
How long was the lockdown in Norway?
Oh, that was
forever.
Yeah, it felt like forever. I don't know, because our lives just went on as usual. Kids were going to school because the schools weren't locked down. They were locked down maybe for 3 months. I think the schools were like completely locked down and homeschooling and stuff like that. And then after that, they had like shifting between yellow and green periods. So yeah.
But the grown-ups, you were able to work?
I work in IT, so I had home office. Yeah. So our lives just kept on going as usual. So I had home office I just started going back to the office now.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, same for me, but not for Patrick. He had to endure every day at work. But Patrick, did you get COVID, Patrick?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I remember now. The Omicron, I think, caught you.
Yes, the Omicron.
Yeah. So, Ole, did you get it, or did you stay?
Yeah, I got it, but long after the lockdowns. Yeah. Same here. Long after all the restrictions were lifted, I got it.
Yeah. Interesting. But so let's go to your country more specific. Can you tell us about how is prepping in Norway? Is it, I call it mature. Is it mature, or is it just beginning, or do people not care?
It's maturing, I would say. It's mature for the people who's into prepping, but we don't have a lot of people. The largest group for prepping in Norway has 5,600 members. So it's fairly small, but the people who's into it are mature in the topic. Yeah.
Okay.
but it's the majority of people is Norwegians in general are very happy-go-lucky people. Yeah. Someone else fixing it for us.
I think the same goes for Sweden.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then you become a prepper. Why did you choose the name vardagsprepping?
That's well, it didn't start out as vardagsprepping. It didn't start out casual because my first introduction to prepping was Doomsday Preppers. So I thought I had to have like bunker and 25 years of food and all that. And it became very overwhelming. So I took a couple of steps back and I started to, and then I found the flyer from DSB. And then I started like chilling out a little bit more. And I chose the name because that's what I do. I do everyday preps. I don't like focus only on the big things, but I like to not have to run to the store in the morning because I forgot about a school trip or something. So I prep for the things that happens every week, basically.
Yeah.
Instead of the things that might happen in the future.
Patrick, now we have a twin. We have twin with the casual preppers in the US and with Ole in Norway. So we have a lot of twins. That's wonderful. So your country has been a part of NATO since, I think, the very beginning, or maybe right in the start.
Yes.
Do you think this has played a part in Norwegian prepping or the happy-go-lucky? If it's good or bad, I don't know. But do you think that the NATO membership gives you some sort of, relaxed mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. We feel safe. It's like the things that happens to non-members of NATO, it doesn't happen to us type of mentality because we have this whole alliance backing us up if something happens. So I think the feeling of like the threat level for Norway is much lower for us than surrounding countries.
Yeah.
Obviously, but it's like every time when this comes up in the news about Russia and China and all of this, I look at it like schoolyard bullying, but with the entire world as a schoolyard. You have like schoolyard, like you have like groups and gangs, and they are just the more people you have around you, the safer you feel.
I think that's wise. And Sweden and Finland right now, we're the what do you call it? The poor kids that don't belong to a gang, right? For the time being.
Yeah, for the time being.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Sweden and Finland joining NATO?
No, I'm absolutely positive to that. 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because now the membership borders have been pushed a bit further away from you. So because right now you are actually in the, if you say, front line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, up in north we'll still be in the front line though. Yeah.
Do you feel an added sense of security knowing if that Sweden and Finland will be, since we're so close, that we'll be adding to the security?
I never really thought about it like that.
No.
I haven't thought that we have like this distance between us and Russia, for example, to add to the security. I have a lot of peace of mind already, and it doesn't change anything about that.
No.
Actually. No.
Sounds good.
But the more the more people in the alliance, the better, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So right now we see a big inflation. We're in dire times, and we also have the war in Ukraine. We still have COVID. Has this changed the view of prepping in Norway, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It has. DSB has seen an increase on their surveys of people who has has some preparedness at home. Also, every time there's a new thing coming, like when the COVID hit and when the war started, we saw an increase in membership requests in our prepper group on Facebook. So yeah, absolutely, we see a change for it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and as we say, we really hope that the new preppers, that they stay preppers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What kind of natural disaster do you have in Norway? Is this something you prepare for?
No, actually not, because I live in an area where there's not a lot of natural disasters. I've checked the ground in the surrounding areas, what type of ground is the house built on and stuff like that, and I don't have any warnings considering that. And the only thing I've seen is stronger winds where I live. We had some like roof tiles fly off the roof and stuff like that, but besides that, we don't have much where I live. But we do have like landslides and floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, stuff like that. We have in 2018, I think it was, there was an article about that we had an average of 1 earthquake per day, but of course the level of them or the severity of them were very low. But the highest recorded in Norway or surrounding areas was 6.6. But they also said in that article that it's about 100 years between every like big earthquake. And in 1904 we had one in the Oslo fjord. So they say that of course that it can happen at any time now. So that was we'll just have to see. But I don't prepare for much where I live because there's not much to prepare for those kind of things. But we had last year we had a bad storm in Telemark. Where the emergency network went down. The ambulance can communicate with the central. So the locals actually borrowed out their radios so they could communicate. Because the people were without electricity for over a week, and stores had to close down and give out food from the freezers because they couldn't keep it good. So, and that was like, I think it was like November last year. So we do see in areas in Norway increased winds, increased weather. So that's absolutely something that I'm watching.
You're watching the natural disasters, but what do you prepare for, if not these things?
I mean, I prepare for just staying safe. Just, as I said, staying comfortable in situations that would make us uncomfortable. That can be as easy as forgetting a pack of hot dogs for a school trip, or it could be preparing for a nationwide delivery, like delivery chain problems, so the stores can't get food, and we can't get any food for several months in that case. So I am definitely prepared, and I have a lot of food stocked up, and I can cook without electricity, and so I do prepare for basically everything, but my mind is not on the big things, because by preparing for the smaller things I am also prepared for the bigger things. But going around and focusing on, oh my god, what if we can't get any food? That's a destructive way of thinking, in my opinion, because that's a lot of negativity. So basically I just go, I do what I do, and I buy some extras, and so we're good for, I don't know, a good while, more than the government tells us to be. Yeah,
you should always be more prepared than the government asks you.
Obviously. Yes, I also have my EDC backpack, and I saw an increase in riots and in towns surrounding us, and where they were using tear gas and stuff. So, okay. So I went and I got a gas mask. Yeah. So I prepare for what's in my area and what I can see can affect us, basically.
Yeah. So what kind of riots was that?
It was Sian, which is an anti-Islamic group. They are holding a lot of demonstrations where they burn the Quran and stuff like that. And then obviously they get people who disagree with them, and it turns out to become a violent demonstration.
So we have the same in Sweden, as you know.
Yeah. I know.
So you talked a bit about the DSB, or Direktoratet för samfundssäkerhet och beredskap. And they have created a similar brochure that our counterpart MSB has created. But so I had a look at this because I have a Norwegian follower who usually sends me good information. But I would say that have you read the one from the Swedish? Yeah. So,
a while back.
Yeah. But I from what I feel, your brochure is a bit more down to earth and a bit more in your face than the Swedish.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. I do agree.
Yeah. Why do you think there is a difference?
Norway has been a safe country for a long time.
Yeah.
We've had a good time here for a very long time. I also think that the temperature inside the borders is lower here than in Sweden. We have riots, but you have more riots. Yeah. You're not a member of Nato at the moment, so there's also that, and an easier target for war. I do think that it sort of reflects a little bit of the happy-go-lucky type of thing, and that everything gets fixed. Just stay self-supplied for 72 hours, and after that we're good. Yeah. But we used to have bigger books. The first one was released in 1970 or 1972, and they said that they were giving lists for 14 days and how to build, secure your basement from a nuclear downfall. And then they had the same released in 1980 and 88. And then it became quiet, and then they released the flyer in 2018. So it reflects that we have had a good time for a long time.
Yeah. So is the recommendation right now, is it just 3 days in Norway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually, 2 days ago, I emailed DSB and I questioned the 72 hours.
Yeah.
If that's still what they think is realistic and smart. I haven't gotten a reply yet.
No. No, because me and Patrick, we had an interview with a strategist quite high up in the Swedish military. And he said the problem with having those short amounts of times is that if you say 72 hours, nobody is going to do anything because they will just, I'll survive for 72 hours without doing anything extra. And so in Sweden, we have actually upgraded that to 1 week, but 1 week is still a bit too short, I think, because most people say they look in the cupboard and they go, yeah, I can survive for a week, and then they do nothing. So maybe we should aim at a month.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was put out of business for 2 months while folding the laundry.
Yeah. It's not difficult to end up in that situation.
No. It's very easy, and it happens out of nowhere. So, yeah, I think 72 hours is way too little time. And as you say, they look in the cupboard and they say, okay, I'm good. But many people don't consider, how are you going to make the food? How are you going to make the food without the water? Yeah, I don't need to store water because we have it in our tap. No, that's not a given.
No, absolutely not.
We just recently started with TikTok, and one of my first things there was how to start preparing very easy. And I held a canister of water, and man, the people, I have so many comments saying, that doesn't seem nice to be drinking out of a canister. I would rather drink from the tap. And I was just like, oh, okay, here we go.
yeah, exactly. And that again reflects that we've had a good time for a long time, because the good things, like the things like electricity, water, stuff like that, it's become so normal that we see it as it's a good, it's something that we have, and it's nice to have it, but we're not like, it's not something that we can be sure we always have. And the problem is that society has become so dependent on these things like electricity and water that if it goes away, the whole community or the whole society just goes to shit. Because like, what are we gonna do if there's a global power outage? Like, you won't be able to connect to your bank. You might have power on your phone, but if the servers for your bank is down, what are you gonna do? You can't do anything.
The challenging thing is, I think you need to start getting the prepper mindset before you start analyzing how awfully dependent we are on electricity. You know, when you start that process of, what would actually happen? And then you go, oh shit, nothing's gonna work.
Yeah, exactly.
But Ole, we talked just a little bit about the vulnerability of the power grid. So how, because Sweden, we have basically digitized ourselves to death with everything being digital. And right now I think there are majority of stores not accepting cash, at least in the big cities. So how is things in Norway? Have you digitized your economy as well?
Absolutely. Yesterday I paid with the phone. So I was going to the store and I just scanned the code on my phone, and so the country is digitized, absolutely. But we do have a law that says that you have to also accept cash. So you're actually breaking some law in Norway if you, as a store, do not accept hard cash.
But the problem is, even if you accept cash and the electricity is gone, you can't accept the cash because you have
you have to find a pen and a paper.
All right.
Yes, you talked about TikTok, Martin. We have a question from one of our followers. What was the very first thing you started with in the beginning of your preparedness?
Water. That was the very first thing. I had tons of empty soda bottles, and I think I just said, okay, I can go to the store and get money for them, or I can stock up on water. So I cleaned them all out. I had like 30 bottles, and I filled them all. Good. That was my very first thing.
Yeah, and it's cheap. It's a cheap way of starting.
Yeah.
Do you also put them in the freezer? Water?
Actually, no. Now I have moved away from the bottles, so I got my money for them, and I have some big jugs, and I always have a 5 liter in the car with me. So I do prep a lot outside the home. Like I do have I carry an EDC backpack. I have a backpack in the car. I have a box in the car with the tools, and I have a bigger backpack at home if you have to leave. And I have a bag packed with the clothes for the kids and sleeping bags and stuff like that in case we have to go away.
I think the 5 liter in the car, I think a lot of even preppers miss out on that. But I also have a 5 liter in the car, and man, are we using that? So it just shows that, of course, you need water in the car. So we also have a question from one of our patrons on Patreon, which says, it's a long question, so I try to boil it down, but He says the environment in Norway is quite different from ours in Sweden because you have fjords, huge mountains, but the people also, what we believe in Sweden, your people more often go trekking than the Swedish people. So what challenges do you see for your environment? Avalanches in the winter, etc. I know we talked about this, but can you speak for the Norwegian population? So how could you prepare?
I'm the spokesman for Norway.
Yeah.
No, it is like what you said. It is avalanches and landslides and floods. That's in terms of natural disasters and stuff like that. Also, the fact that we do 1% of the area in Norway is agriculture, and 1/3 of that is for human food. So that's, or was it 3%? No, it's 3%, I think, of the Norwegian country is agriculture, and 1/3 of that is for human food. So also the fact that we do not have, like, we rely so much on import when it comes to food. I think we import like 65%. So if we're not able to import that, we're gonna lose a lot of food. Yeah. So we do have like fish in the water, and we can hunt and stuff like that. But I mean, if someone said, I think yesterday on Twitter, that it's like 500,000 people who's registered hunters. If all of those go out to start hunting at the same time, we're gonna have a big problem.
Yeah. So Patrick, do you remember how much we import? Isn't it like 50% or something as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Minimum.
And we have a lot more area for agriculture. So that puts us in a stupid situation.
And the fact that they're like taking down all the preparedness in Norway as well, like corn silos, they've emptied it for grains and replaced it and rebuilt them to be office buildings and apartments for students.
So you did the same thing as us.
Yeah, so, and we used to have 2 oil refineries, but they discontinued one of them. So we only have 1 oil refinery. And yeah, so it's, I don't know why they're doing this. They say it's not financial, like it has something to do with finances. So it's...
But they are talking about it. So they're telling you about the downgrading.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember anyone telling us. But Patrick, do you remember?
Yes.
Did someone that told us?
Yeah, not directly, but indirectly. They talked about it.
Maybe they call it reprioritizing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So only Finland is the country is preparing right now, or have that sort of.
Finland are smart.
I think so too. So we only have one more question, but before we ask it, is there anything you want to ask, or something you're wondering about Sweden, or?
What do you guys feel about joining NATO?
I'm positive.
Yes, please. I'm very positive. Yes, please. Yeah. I've been since I was in the 1985. I was hoping to join NATO.
When it comes to economics, and I'm sure someone from the military side of Twitter or podcasting will bash me for this, but I think the plan was originally for Sweden when we upgrade now, because we have a plan for upgrading the total defense. I think it would cost us 5% of our BNP.
Yes.
And with joining NATO, we get away with 2% only. So it's cheaper for us to join NATO as well.
Yeah.
And I think, so I'm all for this as well. And I know a lot of listeners don't agree, but it's a free country. It's still a free country. Yeah. So
everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah. But watching what Russia is doing in Ukraine, I mean, you wouldn't want to be unprotected in that.
No,
because we don't have at all the same ability to defend ourselves as the Ukrainians have.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I was looking at like the Norwegian border towards Russia, and then I was looking up a little bit of information on NATO and the response team and stuff like that. And they have the response team has to respond in, I think it was between 5 and 30 days. I mean, if they do like the lowest minimum of time, so they respond after 5 days, imagine how far into Norway Russia would get in 5 days.
But NATO would respond much sooner. They would have seen the Russian movements long before, as we did in Ukraine months before.
Yeah, but we do see increased, like in the northern part of Europe, Norway. We do see increased like GPS jamming on commercial aircrafts more than we've seen before. Yeah. So I don't know.
No.
But I mean, Norway would be a stupid target, though.
Yes.
Any NATO country would be a stupid target.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you want to do the last question, Patrick, or should I?
I can do that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We usually torment our guests to the kind of measure themselves preparedness-wise, and on scale 1 to 10. 1 means that you get all your food from services like Uber Eats and something like that, and you don't have anything at home. Maybe a 6-pack in the fridge or something like that. A 10 means that you are basically living off the grid, and you can live a good life without any needs to go to the store or rely on any public services like water or electricity or something like that.
Forever?
Forever, that's number 10. Basically,
basically forever. I don't know. I would say I'm a 5, actually. I mean, I do rely on the water that's coming out of the tap right now, but I don't have to. But of course, I don't have a well or anything like that. The closest water is very dirty, so I have to filter it. It's also in between 2 fields, so I don't know how much pesticide is in the water. So I have 2 Life Straw Go bottles that also filters pesticides, and I have a Sawyer Mini for other waters. But in terms of food, we're good for. I don't have to go to the store to eat for 4 months, I guess.
That's good. But water is always a problem. Always.
Yeah, water is always a problem.
Yeah.
So on a scale from 1 to 10, I would say I'm a 5.
So it goes hand in hand with everyday prepping, because that's probably
exactly. Yeah.
I'm just bringing up new questions now from my brain.
Yeah, fire.
Do you see, as we see in Sweden, an increase in cyber attacks from the east?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely.
Ole, it was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
And maybe we can come up with some new ideas so you can participate more times if you want to.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
Yeah. All right, so thank you again. Tack Patrik. And for all of our listeners, take care, prep on, and don't forget the water. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.